Premier League history is littered with many great Coles. We've got Andrew, Andy, the goal Cole. We've got Ashley, Cashley goal. And we've also got Joe, the trickster Cole. And the new kid on the block, Cole Palmer, might be cementing himself amongst those memorable Premier League players. But it's early days, so we'll see if he'll make it. But he did something special this weekend, and we're going to talk about that. And we'll slip inside United in this episode of One Kick from Glory. It's just me and Craig here today live.
Yeah.
And we're going to have some comments from Matthew and possibly Mark later on to just discuss their thoughts on the weekend's games. And we're going to start off with that massive win by Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, a 4-0 resounding victory, a kind of game and kind of performance that you really want to see from a team that are really doing all they can to show that they mean business. I should say 4-2, it's not 4-0. 4-2 win.
4-2, yeah.
A 4-2 resounding victory. A game where it could have gone either way. And I think Chelsea would feel very happy that they got all their goals and all their business done in the first half and defended well in the second half. For you, Craig, how impressed are you with another good Chelsea performance?
Done great. I do another podcast every week, and we talk about Chelsea, and they've done very well. They've from the first game against Man City, I think the manager was trying to work out his squad. As soon as he brought Sancho into the team, it just clicked. Sancho's got 3 or 4 assists already, or 3 assists in 4 games since he's starting in the team. I don't know how Man United let it go with him, but he's a quality player. Cole Palmer's done so well. He's been a class. He's been their best signing on the Toboli. 100% been their best ever signing on the Toboli. Caicedo had a great game. I think Enzo and Fernandez and Caicedo are finally working together, and I was working now. I was very skeptical of Enzo and Fernandez and that midfield with Caicedo, but he seems to get something out of them too now. And you got Nicholas Jackson, who I said many weeks ago that this kid is a top quality player. There's a player in him. All he needs to do is be more consistent in front of goal. I'm still getting offside all the time. I said to Matthew a couple of weeks ago, and he's proven me right. He's getting goals, he's getting assists. Cole Palmer is just another level. You've got Madueke as well doing well this season. I know he hasn't scored for a couple of games now, but he's really got that pace on the wing. He's really buzzing with confidence. You've got Lewis Colwell as well doing well at the back. You've got Sanchez, who sometimes for me is very erratic as a goalkeeper. He'll make a good save, then he'll make a mistake. Then he makes a good save, then he makes a mistake. But if you can cut out some of the mistakes in his game, he's a good shot stopper.
And we definitely saw that in this match with the mistake he made in the back and the pass out from the back, which gave Brighton their second goal, which could have, anything could have happened from that point on. But luckily for Chelsea, it was just that. It wasn't anything more seismic. But I guess, like you're saying, that there was positive signs of Chelsea.
See, there was method in our madness when we were buying all these guys and filtering around the team and, having different squads for different competitions. Because look at the goal return we've had so far. Top scorers in the Premier League as of recorded. Another slobber knocker on Saturday against Brighton. Very entertaining game for the right and also the wrong reasons. But going forward, it's looking fun at the moment. We got so many contributions. Manoni getting a hat-trick very early on. Nicholas Jackson slowly improving in front of goal. I know this game that went by, okay, it didn't exactly work, but the West Ham game he did. So it's little bits of progress getting on, getting in on the goal action, but at least that he's still there. If he's not scoring, he's assisting. Sancho, as I said before, slotted into a system, 3 assists and 3 appearances. He hasn't even but the point is, he's getting in on the action. He's making himself involved, which is way more can be said for his time at Manchester United. I think the last time he scored was against us in the first place. You've still got other options in João Felix, who plays in other cup games. You've still got options like, Pedro Neto, who also plays in Champions League, Champions League, but Conference League and League Cup games and things like that. So we've got so many options. Mikhailo Mudryk, we've still got to talk, about him, but I can't not talk about Cole Palmer at the moment. Quite possibly the top 3 Premier League players in this current moment, of which I've got to get onto that, because what a player. What a joy to watch, man. Seriously. So lucky to have him.
We're going to talk about the main man in a moment, but this game could have gone either way, and I think Brighton had enough chances and made enough of a threat and pressure on Chelsea to, maybe go out of the game feeling a bit annoyed that they came away with a loss and not a draw or even more.
You almost have to look at Chelsea and think that actually what happened is that they just decided that the best way to play was around Cole Palmer. And I know Sancho coming back into the team has helped bring Palmer to life a little bit. But, it almost, all the talk at the beginning of the season was that Chelsea were going to be a system team. Their coach is Pep assistant. They're going to play in a system approach, and Palmer might not quite suit a system approach. And it's almost like for the first 3 or 4 game weeks, they played in a system approach and then just was like, do you know what? Like, we have one of the best players in the world here right now. Let's utilize him at what he's actually good at. And as has been seen from him scoring 4 goals in 20 minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous, he has managed to dominate and really, really put himself together in an incredible way. Now Chelsea look very good going forward with Palmer, Sancho, Madueke, Neto, the likes. They've got a lot of options in them attacking spots, but defensively are a little frail still, and can definitely be got at. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Chelsea do in a couple of weeks when they come to Liverpool and have a real test.
I know that they're still fine tuning their team and they're balancing midfield. Obviously, it's Enzo was in there alongside Caicedo this week. They've obviously got Lavia, who they can rotate in. I think he came on off the bench for Enzo Fernandez. So they've got options in there, which is quite good. Do you feel like they need to still kind of refine that balance? Because like I said, they looked very vulnerable on the break. Brighton made chances. I mean, the goals Brighton scored shows you that something's still not quite right there. And obviously, the goalkeeping position is one which I think they need to address, and they made a mistake letting Jorgensen go out on loan. Jorgensen, Petrovic got out on loan, sorry.
I thought that, I was saying last night on another podcast, I thought that Petrovic was a good goalkeeper. Did well last season, made some great saves. I think the reason why they loaned him out this season is to give him more experience. They felt that, he's a good keeper, done well for us last season, but give him more experience, like in another league. Like when they did with Courtois back in the day, they loaned him out for 2 seasons. Then Peter Cech was still the goalkeeper. And then when Courtois came back, Courtois replaced Peter Cech, and Peter Cech was sold to Arsenal. So I thought they know what they're doing. I think they're going to give Sanchez maybe this season and see how he does. And then Petrovic will come back in the summer and be number 1 next season. I feel like they're just trying to see what Sanchez can do this season, and then they'll just weed him out. If he continues making mistakes in the summer, they'll get rid of him and bring Petrovic number 1 and maybe bring a number shot stopper. I'm a bit surprised they didn't go for Ramsdale in the summer because he was available as well. So
I think we would have charged top dollar though, and also I don't know if we would really want to sell to
a rival
geographically, but not a rival in terms of trophies right now. Obviously, that can always change with Chelsea. But it's a good question though.
As good as we are going forward, the worry is that in defence, you saw in the first few minutes just how suspect it can be. And it's not even necessarily that the players can't necessarily do their jobs, but it kind of reminds me of the game against Arsenal last season when we were cruising 2-0 and had no right to necessarily drop points at the game, and yet we did. Why? Because of casual complacency. And that's exactly what got us to both the goals. And where did the fault come from necessarily? For the most part, not even the defence, but indeed the man between the sticks, which is Robert Sanchez, who I've given the benefit of the doubt. He's going to be Enzo's number 1, and I'm going to have to back that. He had a good game against Bournemouth, a good game against West Ham last week. But this game here and this is a worry for when we play teams, we've got a little bit more in attack, which we'll be coming on to very soon, next few months. That complacency just really worries me. Far too casual play, far too casual, giving them chances that arguably they probably wouldn't have created themselves, but yet they took them.
But I feel like Chelsea I think the manager's got Enzo Maresca has done well. He's finally after the first game he kind of noticed what he needed to change. He's got the best out of all the players. He's got Madueke getting goals and assists. He's got all the players doing well. So I feel like he's really fine-tuning the team each week and he's getting better and better. The only thing I worry about is the defence. The defence is leaking too many goals. Not enough clean sheets. When it comes to I'm not sure they found the right partner for Colwell and Fofana. They're the right partners. And I feel like Reece James is a big miss as well. Because what he brings defensively is very solid. But I was saying last night, I think Reece James on his last legs now. I think that if he can't get fit soon, he might end up have to retire.
I don't know about retire, but
he's been injured. He's had a lot of injuries now, Clive, and I feel that like it'll get to a stage when the club will get fed up and say, "No, what, we're going to cut our losses on him and get rid of him." It happened to Jack Wilshere. Arsenal fans.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, he's 24. He's 25 this December. So I agree that it's very concerning, but I don't think a situation where the club are gonna he's one retirement. I feel like he's still way too young for that to be a conversation because it depends what's causing it. Recurrent muscle injuries and stuff. He just needs time to just get his body to just readjust and rebalance itself. So if that's what he needs, then so be it. But the key thing within that is, like we've seen so far at Arsenal with Thomas Partey this season, if the problem gets solved, you can play 3-4 games in a row and it's not an issue. Like Partey surprised us with his availability. They're not talking about his performances, but just his fact that he's physically on the pitch for 4 games, the Premier League this season, Champions League games as well, and no problem. So I think that's the key thing: is can they get James in a place where, like, okay, if he misses 6 months this season, so be it. But then after that 6-month period, is he now available and will he now be able to play 10 games and have no niggles? And obviously then you're going to have the ups and downs of performances, but then, you kind of live with that. If it means that he's fully fit, that's the big question. So I think for them, that's kind of where they would lean more heavily rather than look at it in terms of like, he can't stay fit, can't get fit. This is a problem. Like, he is still their captain and they'll want him on the pitch sooner rather than later.
I think he's making an effort to get fit. I think maybe the medical team have to find a solution, as I said, for why he's getting his injuries, pick up his niggling injury. Because the season when Chelsea won the Champions League 2021, I think it was, he played every game. He didn't miss any game that season. I think he played almost every game that season under Tuchel. And that following season after Tuchel left, he got injured every day. He was getting injured.
I'm convinced it's a muscle mass issue. I'm just convinced he needs to he's got too much bulk, and his body is not adjusted to it. And that's how I felt. In as much as with Wilshere, it was the impact is what kind of affected him with the injuries. I think what affected him more when he came back from the second set of injuries. I think the issue is he did a lot of work in the gym to get stronger, but then the game he plays, he needed to stay fleet-footed, and I think he was just carrying a bit more muscle than he needed. And I think that's what meant that when he would play his game his usual way, carry the ball and then go for his little flick 1-2 passes, it's like he doesn't have the agility to just flick it and get out of the way of an impact. Because I remember the injury he got against Paddy McNair at the Emirates against Man United. And it was, again, dribbling to the edge of the box, and he just tries one of those little flicks around the corner and then just can't spring out of the way. I mean, it's a terrible tackle from McNair, but he just couldn't spring out of the way fast enough to avoid the contact. And I do attribute that to just carrying a bit more bulk. And I almost wish, with Wilshere at the time, could he have adjusted his game sooner? Because, when he went off to West Ham, when he was playing in England, he played as a deep line passing playmaker for the national team. Looks very good there, almost in like a Pirlo type role. And I almost wish, could he have gotten to that type of role at Arsenal before Wenger left?
He could have.
That key season, could that have become his position? Then the new contract conversation would have been very different.
I feel he could have. I felt like he was very, he wanted to run a lot. He could have just, simplified his game a little bit, just sit deep and do what Pirlo done, just keep the ball ticking. But I think because he wanted to always score goals, he's like a goal scorer in number 10. He wanted to score goals, get assists. He wanted to drive the team forward like how Vieira used to do with Arsenal in midfield when he got the ball and just drive like what Diallo used to do as well. I feel like if he had refined his game a bit, he could have still been at Arsenal maybe now.
Yeah, but and also I think, again, just going back to James, I think that's going to be the question now is in his recovery, when he's back playing again, how is he going to play? Because he can't play the way he used to play.
Definitely.
Even though he'll want to, he can't. He's going to have to make adjustments. Is he going to be able to kind of be comfortable with that, or is he going to be upset? That's a big question for them. Big question for Chelsea.
Okay, and while we're talking about the defense, maybe losing someone's experience as Thiago Silva is always going to be a really hard thing to replace, and even worse still, someone who I think is going to be a great defender in the future, wherever he is. I really want him to be with us. I'm so surprised that we let him go that easily, which was Trevor Chalobah, who started putting some really good performances in the back. We took him out of a game and then we got thumped 5-0 by Arsenal. And, we got in Tosin Adebayo is going to be a good addition, but still, I can't help but think that letting go of someone like Chalobah, when granted it's still the start of the season, but it's when your impressions are starting to be made, I can't help but think that's something that could potentially come back and bite him. But look, it's something that is still, fairly early on in the season. We've still got things we can improve on and do better at. So maybe our defense will tighten up, over time. I just hope this whole the Trevor Chalobah thing doesn't bite in the butt towards the end of the season.
Obviously, we want to talk about the man of the hour, Mr. Cole Palmer, Cole the goal, as he might now start being called. 4 goals. The pick of the bunch was definitely the free kick on the 41st minute. Absolute peach of a goal. A player that I think is definitely going to be in the conversation again for player and young player of the season. How do you kind of sum up his significance to Chelsea now?
You might as well thank Lampard. When Lampard first came to Chelsea, when he first came in, everyone at West Ham were ridiculing him, writ him off, say he's an average player, not going to do well. He went to Chelsea. Claudio Ranieri has to be given credit for what he did for Lampard. I think Lampard always gave Mourinho credit, but Claudio Ranieri gave him a chance at Chelsea, and Mourinho made him a superstar. Put it that way, like that. Ranieri saw something in him, moved him from West Ham to Chelsea for 11 million. Nowadays, that'd be 100 million in today's value because of the inflated prices in players and all that. Went to Chelsea, and he's a legend. Broke Bobby Tablin's record, and the guy was a goal scoring machine. And with Cole Palmer playing that number 10 role, he can do the same thing what Lampard did at Chelsea. He's scored so many goals for Chelsea already. I think he's got 27 goals in 2 seasons, I think it is. I was reading up yesterday. I think he's got 27 goals in 2 seasons. And the season's, and it's only like 6 games or 5-6 games already in the season. He'll definitely break the record this season for marked goals in the league for Chelsea if he can continue on that trajectory.
So he's now got 31 goals and 19 assists in 53 games for Chelsea.
Wow. So it's very close. Wow.
Well, it was that before the hat-trick.
Before the hat
Before the four, yeah.
Yeah, 27 goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so before the 4, so yeah.
But I feel that, like, one thing I like about Cole Palmer, he's such a humble boy. Like, he's from Manchester, left Manchester.
He's not humble.
But I mean, compared to other footballers,
All right.
I'll give him that. He's very like, he knows he's a good player. He just gets on with the job.
I would say he has incredible self-belief. I wouldn't use the word humble, but that's not a bad thing. I don't think you need to necessarily be humble when you're good at something. I think having that belief and having it exude from you is a good thing. So I think he's very self-assured. That's the word I'd use.
Self-assured,
I wouldn't say he's humble, because the problem with humility is sometimes it comes across as like you're humble and there's like a meekness to you.
Yeah.
Whereas I see him as very self-assured. He knows how good he is. Think about last season when he had the tussle with Malachi and Jackson for the penalty.
Yeah.
And he wasn't backing down.
No,
a humble
definitely.
player would have been like, all right then, here you go, mate.
Yeah, he's already stood his ground. But
He's not arrogant.
No,
That's
he's not
what I
arrogant.
say. He's not arrogant.
He's
He's
not
very
arrogant, yeah.
self-assured. So
Yeah,
you could probably put humble somewhere in there, but I think self-assured is probably a better way of putting it.
I feel like he's done well for Chelsea. He proven for England that he was England's best player at the Euros. Maybe after Saka, or maybe if you want to debate that. But he came off the bench in the final, scored a crucial goal, and I'm thinking to myself, he should have started. If he started, maybe the game would have been a different game. You never know. In hindsight, you never know what would have happened. But I feel that he's improving every season, getting better and better. Man City must be kicking themselves selling him now. And if they want to buy him back again, they're going to have to pay an awful lot. Any club that wants to buy him now, Chelsea can ask for top dollar for him.
I find it strange when they did let him go, because it really did feel like the pathway in at Chelsea was Mahrez was leaving. Palmer started a lot in that preseason, played a lot of games, had quite a few goals, and I thought, okay, they've now made that space for him. And obviously they sold him on to Chelsea out of nowhere, which shocked everyone. But we're going to talk about Man City and decisions like that in a little bit when we come to their game against Newcastle. But yeah, I think it was just a bit surprising. But like you said, it just goes to show just how sometimes you need to move to the right environment as a player.
Yeah.
And with him, it was not an issue of coaching. It was just being able to play.
Yeah.
Having a platform in, let's just be perfectly frank, last season, an awful Chelsea team. Worst only by an awful Man United team. I'm going to get onto them in a little bit. But like, he somehow managed to shine bright.
Yeah.
And look at him now. He's just carried on like last season was just training ground. And now he's back in the groove again and he's just carrying on. So
Definitely.
That's important. Environment's important. Club's important. Fit's important.
Whatever Enzo Maresca is doing at the moment, it's just so much enjoyable to watch us actually go. And when we actually go up front, it looks like we're going to score a lot more often, where a bit of last season, it was sometimes a bit of a slog and a bit of a, a watch through the hands moment where we're going to make a chance, and sometimes we'd absolutely fluff it, because it's good to see that players are actually much more decisive when they're going forward and putting the ball in the back of the net. Case in point, someone like Cole Palmer, who can do penalties, he can do tap-ins, he can make chances. We're just now are we seeing that he can score amazing free kicks. That free kick right into the top corner, beating the Brighton keeper was just like something I didn't even know that he had in his locker. And I still think he's just so young. This is the reason why we tied him down to that massive contract, and in a way that we owe some kind of success, because a talent like that, you got to deliver, because you want him to stay at your club for as long as is possible. But like the options we've got going forward, is so exciting. And I haven't felt like this in a while. I wouldn't even say we necessarily got a striker, a proper recognized striker, and we're still putting away all these goals. So even when we do go behind in the game, the whole Brighton game, and they got a goal back, I had confidence that this team was going to come back again. I didn't necessarily think that it would all come from one player, and so far, like I said before, he's got more goals than the whole combined Manchester United team, and he's probably going to go on and have another great scoring season again. So like, it's good to have, man. So good to have.
We'll see how things go for them. We'll see how things go for Brighton, because obviously they've had a good start. It's an unfortunate result for them, but that's football. Sometimes it gets like that. But we are going to move on to the big game from Sunday night rather. Manchester United at Old Trafford, slip and slide United at Old Trafford against Tottenham Hotspur, and to lose 3-0 at home in a game that I said I thought was going to be a fight back game for them. I thought this is a game where they're going to build momentum, get the 3 points, get the result, and move on. Do you call it a draw? Do you call it?
I think I call it a draw.
Draw.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't say I didn't see this result coming. I'm disappointed in Man United.
The Man United game was one in which you have to really look at Ten Hag and question whether or not he's got a future at United, because they were pretty spineless across the board. Even before Bruno Fernandes's red card, they were just dreadful. And Tottenham dominated and had the best chances. And, it's not like they were playing, Real Madrid. They were playing Tottenham. And there was a lot of domination for, first 30 minutes. So I do think that there's some big question marks around Man United. I don't think it was a red card, but they were comfortably beaten in almost every way, shape, and form. And with that, I ultimately look at the situation and think Ten Hag's time is really coming to an end.
That's the only way I can put it. I'm disappointed in them. Like I am laughing at you guys. Don't get me wrong. I am laughing at Man United's pain. I'm laughing at their downfall. I'm laughing at the absolute mediocrity that's going on over there. But at the very same time, this institution should not be where they are in any way, shape, or form.
Man United have got problems, man. Absolute problems. That performance was just pathetic. Against Spurs, a Super Sunday game deserves way more caliber, way more respect for the reputation that it upholds. But the game we had last week with Man City and Arsenal, the 2 Premier League protagonists, it just shows the quality that has dipped on the red side of Manchester. For all we can say about the charges against Man City, you expect your nearest rivals, with how much they spend and how they've the players ever quitted over the last 2 seasons. Let's not forget they've got 2 trophies in 2 years. That should show some kind of progress. And yet you put up a performance like that. That Brennan Johnson goal speaks volumes of what is wrong at that club. How he's able to go from one end to the other, from their side of the pitch, and put in a cross so easily as if nobody was there to get to Brennan Johnson that easily. You wouldn't even do that. A Sunday league, you wouldn't see that on the playground. You wouldn't see that. Like, so there's some big problems at this club now. And as far as defeats go, you saw it on the fans' faces after the game, where they were not happy
at all. Yeah. My question for you then, Craig, is let's pick apart the match to start off with. The big thing I want to ask is the first goal. Talk me through your thoughts on it. Great run from Van der Ven. But talk me through your thoughts on that goal.
None of the midfielders engaged. He ran from his own half, and no one didn't put a challenge in. You put a challenge in, pick up a yellow card. Pick up a yellow card. Do a silly tackle, get a yellow card. But He made him. He ran to the box, squared it across. There was sleeping in defense.
I'll be honest, that's the kind of goal you score on FIFA.
100%.
I've seen you do that kind of goal before.
Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, but,
Not against me.
Yeah, but end of the day, like you have to defend better.
Yeah.
Kobe Mainu, Casemiro, they ran past all three of them. Like they weren't even there. Bruno Fernandes, Ugarte, all of them were there. Like and they made him run around like that. Like and it's embarrassing because if Roy Keane was on that pitch, I said there's no way Roy Keane would make that guy run that far. Roy Keane would have done a foul on him. Nicky Butler done a foul and David Beckham would have taken a foul. If Gary Neville would have broken him or something like we did against Reyes, there's no way he would have let him run that far. And I feel that I honestly feel the Man United players don't care.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you, they don't care. They're too pretty. They don't want to roll their sleeves up. Not all the players. I love Kobe Mainu, but I feel he's in the wrong team in the wrong environment. I feel if he's playing for Arsenal or playing for another team in the Premier League,
Liverpool,
Chelsea, he will shine even more.
Tottenham.
I feel like he's at Man United. They're struggling and he's making him look like a bad player. He's not a bad player. He's a good player. Same with Rashford. Rashford is a good player playing in a bad team. Rashford yesterday created so many chances. I watched the game match of the day this morning. The guy was creating so many chances for Xerxes, putting so many chances for Garnacho, and they kept on missing. And Man United fans, every time Man United are losing, the Gary Nevilles, the Jamie Carragher's, the fans, the United fans all get on Rashford is crap. If you watch the game yesterday, analyse the game. Rashford is making good passes to the players up front. They're not scoring their chances. Every time Rashford wants to run at players and take on shots, they complain, Rashford's too greedy. When Rashford creates chances for the players, they say that they're not doing anything. You Man United pundits and fans and all you fans need to watch what Rashford is doing and stop criticising the kid. You're forcing him out of Man United and he will leave Man United eventually. Same with Welbeck. All these players in the past that you got rid of, Welbeck, Greenwood, all of them, you guys said that they were whatever. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you guys are saying that Rashford is not doing anything. If Rashford went to Arsenal or any other team right now, he will shine. If there's an Arsenal team right now on that left wing, he will bag goals every game. Honestly, he'll get bag goals and assists because the way how we play, the pattern of play, how we play, he will definitely get goals and assists and everything. So I honestly feel Man United has been in a mud for a long time since Sir Alex Ferguson left, with the worst team that won the league.
But we can't keep going back to
No, but
you're right.
Yeah.
But we can't keep going back to Ferguson left. Like, he's been gone for a while now.
It's over a couple of decades now he's gone now. And Man United are not they're getting worse and worse every season. Like, how many managers Man United need? They had Ten Hag. They had Mourinho. They had Solskjaer. They had Ragnick. They had Van Gaal. Are you telling me all these managers are bad?
Don't forget Moisey.
David Moyes. Well, that was a mistake. Yeah, sorry, David Moyes, but that was a bad mistake. But you know, like, how much longer can Man United fans say that they're happy with the team playing and they're happy with Man United has spent over 700 and something million on players. Ten Hag has since he's been at United, and he won 2 trophies: League Cup and FA Cup. Man United don't like winning trophies like that. They want to win Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues. Those are the trophies that Man United are used to winning. Like, they're not used to winning these Mickey Mouse Cups that they used to diss Arsenal for winning the FA Cup every season. Well, now your karma's come back on you. Now you're winning them Mickey Mouse Cups now. So, you know, sometimes you have to be humble. And a lot of Man United fans are not humble. That's why they're suffering now. They're not humble fans. Especially the London Man United fans. They're very arrogant, thinking, yeah, we're the best team in the league and we won so many trophies. Well, you know, your time came and went. The best team in Manchester is Man City. And their time is going to end soon, very soon.
Salford United.
Yeah, there you go. So, you know what I mean? Like, with Man United, they've bought so many players. They've got Delit, international player. They got Mazraoui, international player. They got Martinez, who won the World Cup and the Copa America, international player. They got Onana, international player. Good goalkeeper when it's at Inter. Since he come to United, I don't know what's happened to him. He's gone backwards. They've got Dallo, good utility man, solid defender on his day. They've got Casemiro, multiple Champions League winner, 5-time Champions League winner. They've got Ugarte, one of you guys' best midfielders. They've got Kobe Mainu, great potential. Rashford, great player on his day when things are going well for him, but they don't give him credit for. They got Garnacho, who everyone's hyping, scored a good goal last season. Sometimes he just goes missing in games. When it really matters, he goes missing. Bruno Fernandes, when it gets tough for him, he goes missing. When the big games come and things are not going his way, starts throwing his arms around, moaning at players, and not really helping the team. Only time you see him do well when he's on the ball. Doesn't really help a lot when it comes to off the ball.
That's fair.
When it comes to defending, he doesn't want to defend. He wants to just be on the ball all the time. You've got, I think the one that I love the most at United is the Diallo. Ahmed
Diallo, yeah.
I think he's got the great potential. I think he's a very good player. He went on loan to Sunderland, balled out, and Sunderland did very well. They got Player of the Year in the Championship. He's a very good player. I feel like the only issue with him right now is injuries. If he can stay fit for a season, he'll do what he needs to do and he'll do well. You got the young players United got some good young players in the academy. I think it's about time that they start using the academy boys, because United, when they had the class of 92, that team done well. They won trophies. I think every minute they're buying all these expensive players, it's not working. They bought Casemiro.
Hasn't worked.
They bought Ugarte. The jury's still out on him. He's still got time.
Ugarte. Well, that was a bad match for him.
Yeah. You got all these players out there. The only best signing they made was Bruno Fernandes. Was a good signing when he came in at the time during lockdown. It was a good signing.
Very good signing.
Very good signing. He became captain, scored an awful lot of goals and whatever. But you need more from your captain. You think if Roy Keane was on that pitch yesterday, do you think he would take that nonsense from any of them players? He'd be grabbing players with the scruff of the neck and telling them fix up.
Everything that could have gone wrong in that game could have gone wrong, from the performance to, the controversial red card from Bruno Fernandes, which, as funny as it is to see, as a football fan, it's still not a case of it being back fair. Even James Maddison himself said that, it wasn't, the reaction says it wasn't a red card. That's probably going to be something overturned in the next game. But I just saw a great point I saw on Sky Sports. They're saying how Man United used to be like the graveyard of great players, which is a vast contrast from how they used to be, how they used to build up great players. But look at the players they've acquired. Look at the players they've acquired over the years. Likes of Casemiro and Varane, who are both, Champions League serial winners from Real Madrid. They're returning Paul Pogba for all those years, had so much promise but didn't deliver. They bought back Ronaldo, who was their best player for a season and a bit, only to then usher him out onto bigger and greater things. Mason Mount, a goal for all the promise that he had. He left for the money, and it's just sad to see how his career's petered out with injury. I actually feel really sorry for the guy, how they treated De Gea, and how Onana is coming in with big shoes to fill, and he's doing his best at the moment. But as you can see with that defense, it's just not working. They've got the Beyblade, we keep calling him, in there, in Anthony. So much young talent coming through. Even younger talent can't come through. Hodgson's always injured. They've got that the new guy coming through. He's now injured. It's like no one. It's like, I just don't know. There's lots of problems at this club, and they just come out there. It's almost like how QPR were back in 2015, where all these players just came just to fester, and that's exactly what a lot of these players are doing right now. They are festering and stinking out what are bigger problems at this club.
But at the same time, you're right. I think Keane's personality will be very different in this situation. But going back to the point when you said that you think the players don't care, there's very little you can do as a captain if you think your players don't care. And I want to talk about the manager, but before that, I do want to talk about one of the incidents in the match, which is Fernandes' red card for the tackle on James Maddison.
Yeah,
I think that's a bad decision.
That's not a red card.
He slipped.
It's a yellow card.
Now, my only issue with that is, because I have a massive issue with referees in general this season, because I just feel like they have, it's like consistency is just a word that doesn't exist in their dictionaries. And all that exists is we do what we want and we want how we want it. And that's it. But he's clearly slipped. His foot's gone very high.
Yeah.
He's not really touched Maddison.
Madison died.
So Madison, well, it's not died.
No,
Madison's
he
kind of
it's
gamesmanship. Madison's is gamesmanship, and I don't like that. I really don't like that in general. I think he took a long time to get up, made it look worse than it was. The referee didn't really see it properly, and I think what the referee could have done and should have done is gone, I'm gonna go yellow, and I'm gonna say to my assistant, look, VAR, can you just quickly check that? I just in case, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I saw his leg was high, but I'm not sure. Can you just double check?
Yeah.
Was there sufficient contact? Sufficient contact to upgrade it to a red? That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, look, can you look? I'm gonna give it. Look, I've given a yellow, but can you guys just check it? Because I'm just not 100% sure if it was sufficient contact, and if I need to review it on the monitor, I will.
Yeah.
Because they can do that,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Give me a yellow card, and then VR would review it, and then we'll wait. and then have a look at the monitor and look at it. Okay, fair enough. Upgrade it, red card, fine. But the fact that you're not sure, and the problem because he gave a red, VAR can't then intervene and say, actually, I mean, to be fair, they could have intervened and said, no, actually, I think that's not right. He looks like he slipped a little bit. Just review at the monitor. They could have done it last season. Yeah. This year they've been told to interfere less. So because of that, they can't interfere to say, oh, red is the wrong decision. Maybe it should be yellow. Yeah. However, if it was yellow was given, they could say, I think you should check it again because it might be red. Yeah. So I think he was very hard done by. But at the same time, we know how he tackles when he's frustrated. And I think it's not fair to judge a player on reputation. We had a lot of David Luiz and Xhaka who were constantly judged on reputation, even though like Xhaka was not really a dirty player, even if he might look at statistics, but he really wasn't.
No, he wasn't, no.
But that's just how he was painted. So whenever he did anything a bit aggressive, a bit extra, it's like to be a red card. I don't think players should be judged like that. No. I think that was a bad call from the referee. And I think that really messed up whatever game plan Man United had. And I do want to get onto that now, and I want to talk about their manager, because I feel like this was a game where you're looking at Man United's current, which should be their past, and Man United's potential future. Because you're looking at how Ange has his own problems at Tottenham, because again, that high line thing that he does is crazy, but in games like this, it works. And Van der Ven, when you got a player that's that quick, who can run from his own box to the other position's box and make a chance, you feel comfortable doing that high line thing. It just won't last for a whole season, but definitely. So be it.
And you know what, as well, you got to give some credit to Spurs. They actually turned up and took the opportunities really, really, really well. Van der Ven going down that line to find Brennan Johnson. He still had to put the work in. He still had to put the run in. But, just how quick, and not necessarily how quick, but how easy it was for him to get from one end to the other. That defence of Man United was non-existent to find Brennan Johnson really, really well. With this finish for the second goal. And another key thing is what I said is Dominic Solanke getting in on the goals again. He may not be scoring a lot, but he's scoring when it's important, which is going to build up his confidence. With Spurs going into the Europa, it's going to mean a lot. And, it's saving the blushes of Postecoglou, who came out with a controversial statement before the North London derby. He's doing the work. They're doing the work right now, credit where credit is due. You have to give it to them, linking up with James Maddison as well. Clearly, they seem to be having a little bit of a click going on. They're just going to make sure that they win their next few games.
But Erik Ten Hag, we've talked about him before this season. We've talked about him in the past. I don't know what he is trying to do at Manchester United. I don't see it. I don't understand it. I don't know what their football is. I don't get how a manager that managed an Ajax team that played some incredible football, an Ajax team that were one game away from reaching the Champions League final to get knocked out by Spurs, to then be serving up this dross at Old Trafford. I don't understand. And I know we can talk about this game. If they took their chances, it'll be a different outcome. But for me, it's about process, and something's wrong in the process.
Normally for a manager that's won 2 trophies in 2 years, I must say that they're doing something right. Going from the Carabao Cup to the FA Cup. So naturally he's going up in progression. But the league form is like it's so bad. It's like he can't necessarily live off of that anymore. Let's be honest, he hasn't exactly lit up the Premier League since he's been here. And he's only relying on cup progress, cup success since he's been there, which considering how much investment he has had and the expectations being them to be further up, challenging, not necessarily winning the title, but at least to be challenging, it just ain't there. The players that have come in and that have come out, I mean, look at what's happening with Jadon Sancho. Sometimes it's a case of maybe it's not the player. Since he's come to Chelsea, 3 appearances, 3 assists, all coming in big goals. He's getting in on the moments. He got the penalty for one of Cole Palmer's many goals, which we'll get into soon. If I were Man United, or especially if I were Ten Hag, I'd be like, I've got to watch my back because I can't keep living off of that cup glory. It's just not good enough. 5 goals since the start of the season, and we're going into October. 5 goals for Manchester United. Cole Palmer has 6. Haaland has 10. He scored twice as many goals as an entire club. That, by many reasons, is why I think he'd be watching. To me, I think he's got one, maybe even 2 games, Porto and Villa. So he's got a job on his hands.
Help me understand what on earth he's doing and trying to do.
There's no system. He's a Dutch manager. Dutch managers are very good. Look at Arne Slot, for example. Arne Slot's got a system how he plays. He plays with like that guy, what's his name? Gravenberch in that number 6 role. And he plays attacking football. One holder, two eights, and Salah on the left, Jota on the right. No, Salah on the left, Diaz on the right, Diaz on the left. No.
And then Diaz on the left, Salah on the right, and then Jota through the middle. Or Gakpo,
or Nunez, whoever up front. Man United, I don't know what system they play, man. They play Rashford on one wing, Garnacho or something on the one wing, or Dallo on the wrong wing. Not that, I mean, Diallo on one wing. And they play like Xerxes or Hodgson up front. I don't know what system they play.
To me, I'm not really worried about the system in terms of
the
like
tactics.
It's the tactics. It's the build-up players.
I don't know. Like I actually had a good attack. He had De Ligt, he had De Jong, he had Van der Beek. He had a great team. He had Tadic was there as well, I think. Tadic was there. He had a great team of great players. Since they come to United, and Anthony was there as well. Anthony was there. Anthony was their best player, well, one of their best players at the time. He was doing well. Since they come to Man United, I don't know he's won 2 trophies, but like, if you really deep it, has been really entertaining football. The only game that he played that was very entertaining to watch was the cup final when he beat Man City, when he stopped the juggernaut of Man City winning the cup final. But he's gone backwards again this season. He struggled against Fulham. Very lucky to win against Fulham. They got battered by Liverpool at home. They lost against Brighton. They're not playing good football, and I thought that like
plus the European defeat
and the draw. So the defeat was a draw.
Yeah.
Man United needs to come back with have an identity again, because it's not an identity to watch. It's very boring football, and the fans are ready always first to blame Rashford or target the guys who are putting the effort. Rashford puts a lot of effort into the team. You might not think he does, but if you look at him off the ball movement, he's always running, always running the ball. He's not one of the players that's always hiding. You know a player if he's hiding. I play football. I know when a man is hiding. When you're losing the game and you give him the ball, he doesn't want the ball. You'll be like, oh, I don't want the ball. Rashford always wants the ball, demands the ball. Certain players in that team, don't when they're losing, they'll go hiding. Kobe Mainoo doesn't hide. When they're losing, he wants the ball. Certain men in that team are hiding when they're losing. Like, it's all good and it's all fair and good saying that we're trying our best and what. We're not trying our best. It's pathetic. I'm not a United fan. I'm being emotional for Man United. What am I being emotional for Man United for? I don't care. But watching them is frustrating to watch because you got all the star players. It's like having a jigsaw puzzle. You put it together and it's done, but there's still pieces like falling off because you're still trying to tweak it here and there. Like if you don't know your best team and you've been there for almost 3 years now, or going to be 4 years this year, then what are you doing? You got Van Nistelrooy as your coach. Let him coach the team, the strikers. He was a good finisher for United, one of their best ever finishers. Like, and you're telling me you have a man like Van Nistelrooy and you guys are struggling to score goals. You're telling me you had Steve McLaren last season, who's a Jamaican manager now. Good luck to him at Jamaica. And you're telling me he was a trouble-winning manager with assistant manager with Sir Alex Ferguson. And you're telling me he doesn't know how to get the team playing good football. All these guys that were there who helped him, and he's still struggling.
But then on that note, I think I was listening to the Gary Neville podcast.
Yeah.
It's the first time. No, not first time. It's a few times. But I was quite intrigued by a comment he made because he was kind of talking off the back of Christian Eriksen's interview in midweek, and he felt like the bigger question to ask is, because we know we're always talking about the tactics of Ten Hag and what they're trying to do, what's the plan.
Yeah.
But then Gary Neville was saying, well, could the bigger issue be that the players not that they don't understand what he wants them to do, but they just can't do it. And if they can't do what he wants, then where'd you go from next? I remember with Unai Emery at Arsenal when he first took over, and I remember we all got frustrated, and like I'm glad it's working out for him at Aston Villa, but he was a terrible Arsenal manager. It's just a fact. So I remember watching the first game of the season, and we were trying to build out from the back.
Yeah.
But I weren't really looking right, and Chekhov scored an own goal, and we lost that game anyway. But it took a while for him to add the rest, because we were like, okay, where's our style of play? First, we were doing playing out from the back. That wasn't quite working. Then was the attacking patterns. but it was disjointed. Like it never arrived all at once. Like everything was unfair. Then our attacking football was just cut back for FC. Right? We have the famous game against Leicester. We scored that brilliant counter-attacking goal.
And the Fulham game.
And the Fulham game, yeah. But
yeah.
what I think's interesting when you look at those games in particular, you look at the what the players are doing. It's not really Emery football.
No.
It's more Arsene Wenger
Style football.
ish.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was like the dying embers of the Wenger muscle memory of playing out. Not saying Emery didn't set the team up to do stuff, but looking at what they were doing, I'm like, this is just Wenger ball all over. I look at this Man United team, and I just don't see anything of Ten Hag in it. From what I know of him as a manager, I don't see it. And the bigger question you got to ask is like for the club, for the fans, for the players. At what point does someone say, boss, look, we need to figure this out because this ain't working for anyone. It's not working for you. It's not working for us. We need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it's going to come, but they got to figure it out fast because football is a fast-moving business. And if if you're still trying to figure it out, like you said, end of the month, he could be gone. I don't know if he will be. I think he'll still be in a job, hopefully come November. But something's got to give. Ineos are going to invest a lot of money into Man United. They're going to try and they spent a lot of money. I mean, the Glazers have spent a lot of money in general. Ineos are now involved trying to help bring this together. But even if you look at the signings they've made, where is it clicking? Xerxes is a good, young, promising striker. Did some good stuff last season in Serie A, but he's a raw project. Again, and I feel like I'm contradicting myself because it's almost like you got to commit to a project and do the right things. But you already have a project striker in Hodgland. Why have you going to sign another one?
You should have bought Ivan Toney.
It should have, if not Tony, who's the next striker that's in that age bracket? 25, 26, 27, oldest 28. Who else can you pick from world
They
football?
could have gone for Latino Martinez from Inter.
Well, you could try, and whether he'd move or not, I don't know.
You could have got him maybe because Inter haven't got a lot of money in it. They've got a lot of debt, so they could have slapped a big offer on the table for him. Most likely he would have gone. But you never know because like money talks in football. So there's a lot of strikers that they could have gone for Vlahovic from Juventus. He could be available.
Could be. I mean, obviously the striking market is a bit weird. I mean, even one that I thought, looking at it now in reflection, they could have probably made an effort for. It's Victor Osimhen. With the like, if I had caught wind of the mess up going on with Chelsea and Napoli, I would have been on the phone straight away. How much does he want? How much do we need? Okay, we ain't gonna give him that much wages. Okay, we can agree to that.
And give him
We'll
bonuses.
take him. We'll do a loan with option to buy.
Yeah.
Extra option in January if everything works out. I would have pushed for him because then you bring him in. And I'm like, okay,
Man, like the serious.
now we're looking at something, and then you could say, okay, now and then they'll have Zirks, you'd have Hodgland, you'd have Osimhen. You might feel like it's too many options. Fine. Hodgland at that time was injured. Xerxes is new and he can play as number 10.
Yeah.
So then you can be like, okay, right, let's go back to the old Man United way of doing things. Let's just get the strikers in. Let's just get goals in.
Yeah.
They've had squads before with Sheringham, Solskjaer, Cole,
And York.
York. 4 strikers.
Yeah.
And there was no problem getting them more minutes. So you can't tell me they couldn't work it out.
They could have. But the problem is that United has been in a mess for a long time. I don't know if it's going to get any better. They could have every manager in the world. Every top manager could be at United. The club structure from top to bottom is a mess. From the stadium, from the training ground. Even for Cristiano Ronaldo, I said last week, Cristiano Ronaldo said that like when he came back, the canteen was the same when he left it, and he left in 2009.
That's mad.
And he came back in 2000 whenever he came back. So it goes to show that things are not changing. They're trying to change everything now, but if things are not changed from the past, how's it going to get better? You need a better future. Like every club is evolving now. Even I rank Brighton ahead of Man United right now in development of players, getting the right players and selling them for big profits, and still doing a good job in the Premier League. Man United have gone backwards, very backwards, and if they continue this way, they could fall down the table even further.
They could.
And if that happens, then the owners are gonna have to make a tough decision. Like,
And right now they're sitting in 12th
Wow.
on 7 points. Also, Brentford have 7 and 11th. Below them is Bournemouth on 5 points and West Ham in 14th on 5.
yeah,
Obviously, bottom is Wolves, Southampton, Crystal Palace make up the bottom 3.
Yeah.
And the top 4 is Liverpool, top City, Arsenal and Chelsea. If Villa in
So
fifth,
if Man United don't fix up sooner or later, they could be in some serious problems. Like, and I feel that like what's it gonna take for Man United to be good again? Like, they have all the managers. I honestly feel don't throw any money anymore. Money's not worked. They're throwing an awful lot of money. They need to just start getting some good youth players, young players in, and develop them and make them come into the first team. Like, they got Euro, they brought in someone who's injured, but he'll be fit soon. They need to start doing the youth thing what they did back in the day, like bringing youth players in, like, and try and do the youth academy, because they got a good academy, Man United. The academy's very good, like, but all this money wasted on players is not helping, because fans demand a lot, especially Man United fans, but they're not producing.
I also think they need to become harder to score against. I mean, you're conceding 3 goals at home in 2 big matches this season so far. Liverpool and now Tottenham. I dread to feel what Man City will do to them at Old Trafford.
Or even Arsenal.
Yeah, I dread to see what Chelsea could do with this team. Even thinking of an Aston Villa. I dread to think what could happen.
Even Newcastle.
Even a Fulham. Like, if we're being honest, like, it's really... It is not... This is your home. And you're letting people come in your home and done up the dance. Like, you know, happy for Brennan Johnson. Solanke off the mark for Tottenham. Good for him. Needs that goal. But you look at it and think, this is Old Trafford.
When Arsenal still got to Old Trafford back in the day, that was a hard ground to go to.
Very hard
We got some spankings, the 8-2s, the 6-1s, and
That's not about 8-2, bro. It's dead that one.
yeah, but it was hard. It was
It
harsh.
was tough times. But yeah, I think there's work to be done.
It's interesting to hear like the names coming up is actually Potter and someone like Gareth Southgate, of which I don't think they'll welcome either name. The simple fact it was Potter, regardless of what happens for his time at Chelsea, the guy is known for playing some really good football. And, you know, it could be maybe a little bit of a chance of redemption. The football they're playing right now is dog. You know, it for the most part, it sucks. It didn't work at Chelsea. Well, most because I don't necessarily think it was necessarily his fault. They didn't prepare for him. They prepared for Tuchel. So by the time he got there, he was dealing mostly with Tuchel players. Whereas what he wanted was younger players. Man United have just gone for a transfer window of getting in younger players. They've moved on some of their old wood. Casemiro, Varane, Phil Jones is gone. Granted, he's still got a few older players, but he's still got some younger players of which he can work with. And it's still some experienced guys to kind of mold into that kind of system, which is what he wanted at Chelsea, but didn't get. So, you know what? Maybe the risk is kind of worth it. They're not going to get some big-time elite manager and pay you all this money. You're going to have to take your chance on someone younger and a little bit unproven. We've done it. And so far, you have to say that, you know, it's kind of working. It's working. So, if I'm a Man United fan, I'll be taking Potter over Southgate any time of the week.
A lot of work.
Just a quick word on Tottenham. What do you think this result will do for them? They are sitting in 8th on 10 points. Above them is Newcastle in 7th with 11. Fulham in 6th with 11 too. So Fulham are looking up at top, looking in a good place. But how do you think Tottenham will take this result going forward?
It's a massive result because last season they didn't beat none of the big top 6 teams. So I feel it's a massive result for them. I feel that now they can hopefully, or not hopefully to build anything, but
No, we don't want Hodgson to build it.
but I feel like they can take this result and, you know, they can kind of see what they can do further on the season, because, you know, like, they need to start winning trophies as well, but it's not going to happen because they're another club that's wasting money on players, and they have a good result this week and the next week they'll lose to an easy team. So they're a very inconsistent team.
They have no ambition, but that's their problem. There's enough of them. Let's talk about an ambition-filled team. That's Arsenal. Yeah. We made it difficult for ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah.
Came out the traps really well. Strong 2-0 lead. And then we allowed Leicester to show us why they won the Premier League when they did in 2016. Very, very bad, complacent defending for a period of time. But as is the case, we love a late goal. We love a late win, and we love having a hero player. Martinelli off the mark. How impressive you've been with his start to the season, especially his last few games. I think he's really kind of gone up a gear in his last 3 or 4.
I haven't even listened to our podcast. Honestly, I haven't even listened to our podcast. I feel like I like Martinelli. I love that kid a lot. Like, I got a lot of time from him and Saka. I got a lot of time for. Like, I feel like they're the future of Arsenal. I feel like the issue with Martinelli, I think whatever issue he's going through, I think he's sorted it out now and he's more happier. He's got his swagger back. the kids can play ball, innit? It's Brazilian. You know, Brazilians can play ball, innit? So I honestly feel that like he had a bit of whatever issues he had, he sorted it out and he played well on Saturday. You can see he's running with the ball now. He's not. He's taking. Obviously, he's still erratic with his shooting sometimes, but he got a good goal, swivel and turned and scored.
But do you also think it's having a partner on the left that is running into spaces that create space for him? Because we think about last season, the season before, the thing that helped him a lot was the fact that Xhaka was making those outside runs, was making those third man runs, creating space. Last year, with Rice in the 8, Zinchenko at left back at times, he didn't have that same space.
Same partnership.
Whereas now with Calafiori,
Calafiori's
you're
a baller.
starting to see the space open up again.
I feel like Calafiori was telling him, go attack, don't worry about defending. I can defend, I can handle these guys. So Martinelli's got more license because Martinelli does a lot of tracking back.
He does.
More than Saka. I think he does more tracking back than Saka.
No, I think it's equal. He sprints more. So he looks like he does more defending.
I think Martinelli does more running back because more of the time he's always defending and attacking. So I feel like...
Yeah, he sprints more.
Yeah.
Well, they both get back.
I don't know. I thought Saka does more like... Because Ben White is there, innit? Ben White looks after Saka, innit?
If you look at our shape, they both get back. It's just, like I said, Martinelli sprints a lot more. So he looks like he's... But Saka's back. Yeah. Also, teams are more likely to attack our left than our right.
Yeah, so I feel like Martinelli played well. He's getting his form back. And I feel like if he continues this way, he'll definitely get back into the Brazil squad for the next international break. He got dropped in the last international break and Brazil lost. So hopefully he's back again and he'll do his thing again. So... I'm happy for Martinelli. I hope he just long live to continue his form. He got an assist last week against Man City. Got an assist on Saturday. Scored a goal. So I'm really proud for him.
Oh, he is back in the squad. Him and Matt Magalhaes have been called up.
Oh, that's good.
2 of the 3 Gabriels.
That's good. I feel like he's done well, and I'm proud of him. And I feel like he continue get more goals this season, and hopefully break the 15 goal mark this season because he did it 2 seasons ago. So he can definitely do it again. It was a great comeback win, but we were very, complacent. We're 2-0 up at half time. And I always say this in football when I'm coaching now. I always say to the players, when you're winning 2-0 and you're going to half time, game management. I always say it in coaching, game management. Know how to be clever. You don't have to go gun-ho, run up and down and try and score the 3rd and 4th goal. Be patient. Let them attack you for the first 10, 15 minutes. Defend. Solid in the back 4, banks of 4, and if you play the wingers, 1 striker, 3 wingers, just be compact and defend for the first 10, 15 minutes in the second half, and then when they're tired of running at you, then you hit them and you sucker punch them and get the rest of the goal and kill the game off. That's how you're supposed to play football, not like run, and then you tire yourself out and then they go up the other end and score a goal and you make a mistake and then so you have to be more. It's all about being smart in the game, like, pick up silly fouls here and pick up fouls, but be more smart, be more streetwise when you're playing matches. Because Arsenal could have won that more than 4-2 if we'd been more smarter with our gameplay. And maybe Arteta as well should have made tactical changes at half time. He could have taken out a Partey, he could have rested someone, a couple of players.
Brought in Ranieri in sooner.
Brought in Ranieri more sooner. Ranieri came on, he bossed the game. That shot he took almost went in. It was a good, and the goalkeeper.
Great game for him.
The goalkeeper made some great saves for them. Hands down, he made some world-class saves on Saturday. Like I was like, wow. I thought special mention out is to the Jurgen Timber playing at right back. He's really versatile, man. He looks better at right back than left back. And Calafiori and him together, that's a solid back 4. I think someone like Ben White is gonna find it hard to get his place back in the team when he's fit. I honestly think he's going to find it hard to get his place back in the team. But
I like the fact that we have this problem now.
Yeah.
That we can finally look at our back 4 and you're really trying to argue who should start. And especially when Tomiyasu is back in training today. I don't know if he'll be involved against PSG in Champions League on Tuesday, but he's back in training. That's great to see. Yeah. But I like the fact that now we genuinely have people to choose from across the back. Midfield now, Marino's back in training
now as well, yeah.
In the front line, you're starting to see like a squad building up. I still, that killer striker.
I want a killer striker.
Still think that could be January business we might look into doing. But across the rest of it, it's looking a lot better.
Kai Havertz scored again. 60 million down the drain, scored again. I think one thing I like about Kai Havertz, he's a trier. He never gives up. The goal he scored on Saturday, the way how he scored it, he never gave up and he gambled and got a goal. Poacher's goal.
So
I feel like if he can get more than 20 goals this season, that can help us win the title. He needs to get more than 20 in this season to win the title, because if we don't get a strike, if we get a striker in January, we can rotate Havertz and the striker.
But even then, I think, like I said before, like or another podcast, last season we scored the most ever goals of any Arsenal team in the Premier League. So clearly, it's not an issue of volume of goals, because we've kind of worked out to spread it across the team. I think the key issue is in the games when it's really tight.
Yeah.
Like, not so much the Man City game, but maybe like Man City away last season.
Yeah.
Who's that player that can change the game for us? Who's that player that can come on? Or even like Bayern Munich away, second leg last season. Who's that player that can then make things happen? I don't think we have that in our squad yet. And maybe that a player might develop into that. Maybe
a Wanieri.
Maybe he might become that player. Maybe Martinelli might unlock that again and show more of that, because Saka can do it, but he can't be the only one. Trossard is showing that he's a reliable goal scorer, but sometimes his performances don't really...
Not consistent.
Match his output. But who can step into being that clutch player? Because we just don't have it right now.
I honestly feel, when I look at Wanieri, I don't want to put too much pressure on him.
Yeah.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
By a minute midfielder.
Oh, Musiala.
He reminds me of Musiala. You know what? I know people are going to say he might be deluded, but no. Watch Musiala and watch Wanieri. When Musiala gets the ball, he's first thinking not playing it back, forward.
Let's go forward, yeah.
He's got the ability, he's got the agility, he can jinky and do his thing. When I watched Wanieri on Saturday, the guy has no fear. He's a 17-year-old kid and he's playing against men. He reminded me like Cesc Fabregas when Cesc Fabregas first came on the scene. Like everyone's like, "Who's this kid? Where's he from?" Like highly rated at Barcelona. Arsenal stole him for next to nothing. Ranieri's an academy boy. The game that impressed me the most when he came on against Tottenham, when he sent two men to the shop, sent them to Tesco, go buy me a sandwich and come back. And then I said, you know what, this kid is good against that hostile ground, you know. And he did that against these grown professional men. And I said, this guy's got something about him. I was a bit disappointed he never got a lot more minutes, but I think Arteta's been smart with his minutes. But I want to see him in, But I want to see him get more minutes. I want to see him get more minutes in game, even a 45 here, 45 there, because this kid has got the potential to be one of the best.
Well, we'll see how it pans out.
But you see with potential, sometimes with potential, you have to be humble with potential, because sometimes if it gets over your head. I think he's got a good family and he's got a good people, advisors around him that will keep him grounded.
And he's got the captain who's under the captain's wing, who's been there as a young prodigy and is highly rated. And they've been very close, actually. I think Odegaard's done a really great job of bringing Wanieri under his wing.
And Saka's been helping him as well.
Yeah. So I think I don't think there's too much of a worry about that. I think the key thing with Arsenal now is, as Odegaard is still out, how do we bring more of that creativity? We made a lot of chances on Saturday. So on a different day, we had 35 shots. They had 5 shots, 3 on target for them. We had 16 on target. So clearly, their keeper did really well, but he made 13 saves. Raya made 1 in the game. So their keeper did really well, but obviously the clinical finishing needs to be refined. That's a big thing we got to work on.
Maybe we need to go to Dubai again.
maybe
a January holiday to Dubai will help again like last season. Maybe
that will be the trick. But one final thing before we wrap up today, I do want to talk about. I mentioned Man City. They drew away to Newcastle.
Oh, did they draw?
You did, yeah, you did. You called it right. Tough game for them. But such is life. They couldn't get over the line and get 3 points. Be humble. But one thing I do want to talk about, because obviously the big thing, and not so much about the game, not really bothered about that. It's interesting looking at how many of their academy projects this past weekend had big matches or key crucial matches for their teams. You look at Sancho's assist for Palmer, you got Rodgers who scored for Aston Villa, you got Liam Delap who scored 2 goals for Ipswich, and of course you can't forget Cole Palmer himself, who bagged 4 goals.
Yeah.
And I just find it fascinating how you got 4 players, all part of Man City's academy, and yet none of them made it into the first team consistently. I know, like I said, Palmer got some games in pre-season. Liam Delap got a couple of games when he was there. Sancho didn't obviously take the first team, neither did Rodgers. And yet, these guys are looking at, they're carving out a path for themselves now in the league. Do you think that's a major failing on Man City's fact that they haven't managed to bring in more players from their academy? Rico Lewis, Phil Foden.
That's it. Oscar
Bob.
Yeah.
those are the three that we can think of, and I would only really count Foden and Rico Lewis as established because they're the only two that really have broken through and are you could classify as definite first teamers who start. And Oscar Bob is like it's still a projecty type thing, but the other two they're certified first teamers. Why is it that they haven't created a platform, especially thinking about Man City? Like I said before, when Mahrez was leaving, and how Palmer was seemingly getting that right wing spot as a rotation option, and yet they've gone out and spent money on other players. Like, why is it something that's not spoken about more?
Man City don't. I think Man City. I don't know. Man City don't believe in their youth players or not. I don't think they're like Guardiola doesn't really. I don't know. That's a very tough one. When Guardiola was at Barcelona, he really relied on the youth team. He had Pedro. He promoted a lot of like Busquets. He really relied. He had like Thiago and Cantona. He had them players in the team, but I don't know why he didn't. These guys are good players. Like I don't know why he didn't give them an opportunity at City because. But Lavia, he thought Lavia as well. Lavia was in the City Academy as well.
I mean, I guess the other thing as well is you think about their midfield.
Yeah,
I can see why Rodgers, Lavia, Rodgers there definitely probably wouldn't have gone looking back like when he was coming through because you know you're looking at who was ahead of him at the time.
Yeah,
you know you had the likes of Gundogan, you had the likes of Bernardo,
and you had the other guys as well, Fernandinho as well.
But Fernandinho. I think, but then obviously when you're looking at him getting close to when he was getting ready to leave, you could see a spot opening up. I think Lavia is probably the bigger one. I'd say that's a strange one because by the time Fernandinho had left before Lavia went off to Southampton, so it was just Rodri. They went out and bought Calvin Phillips,
and
they'd loaned out Lavia to Southampton. You could have felt like having seen how the move with Phillips wasn't working out. Could they not have given Lavia another chance?
Yeah, they could.
They sold him to Chelsea.
And the other one as well, like even when they bought Nunes, it hasn't worked out for him at all. Matthew Nunes from that's been a bad signing. And they bought Kovacic has been a good signing for them.
Kovacic was smart. Yeah,
that was a good smart because they needed him a bit like a crunching tackler, and he's a cruncher. So.
And he's an experienced player. He's a player that I think brought a lot of the continuity qualities that Gundogan had. Maybe not as much as the goal-scoring threat, but definitely a player that can get the ball, keep the ball, move it around. That's what he got them.
But I honestly feel that they didn't really give them a chance. Like they're good. Sancho's a good player. Like Sancho's a very good player. Like I would rate Sancho even when it was at Dortmund the first spot. Even last season at Dortmund, he got into the Champions League final, did bits against PSG. I honestly feel that Sancho's got the form that he had when he was at Dortmund the first spell. He's got his swagger back again. He's playing with confidence. He's back in London again with his family. And I thought that he just wanted someone to put an arm around him and give him that confidence. Say, you know what, you're a good player. I honestly thought the Euro, him missing a penalty in the Euro final, has mentally affected him a lot. I know he doesn't talk about it, but I think he affected him the most. Out of him, Rashford and Saka had the Arsenal team and everyone supported him and he got back to form. Sancho, it affected him for 2-3 years. It's affected him. He might not talk about it. Maybe in the future he'll have an interview and talk about it mentally, how it affected him. Rashford was able to brush it off and, he was able to have a good goal-scoring season. But I think Sancho affected the most. I mean, he was I think out of all three of them, Sancho and Saka were the two youngest. So Rashford was more older. But, I'm happy for Sancho that is doing well now. And he's getting his form back. And hopefully he gets back into the England team again. I think there's a space for him in that England team somewhere. Rodgers will get a chance in the England team again if he continues with his form. Who else do we talk about? Cole Palmer has to be in the starting 11 for England next game in the number 10 role. There's no two way. I think he's better than Phil Foden in that role, and I feel like I would drop Bellingham into the number 8 role against with a two. I'll play Bellingham and Rice. Because Bellingham can do the deep running, and I'll play Cole Palmer as a number 10. Saka on the right, Gordon or Sancho on the left.
Okay.
And I'll play up top Harry Kane or Watkins. That's my team. I would definitely start for the next game. But I feel that, I honestly feel that England these players have got great potential to play for their countries again. And I feel that it's up to them how much they want it. And I feel that Sancho wants it again. He's hungry, he's happy again. He's playing football again. Cole Palmer has proven he wants it. That's why he left Man City. He left his home comfort to go to Chelsea in London, a big city like London, and he wants to win. So he's come to Chelsea and he wants to show and prove Man City. He's already proven Man City wrong for selling him, so he wants to get to the next level, and he's doing it right now. So all these players want to get to the next level, and they got the potential to do it. And I honestly thought if they continue this way, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I back all of them. They might not play for my team, but I back them because I like seeing good potential players coming through and doing well for themselves. You know what I mean? No matter race, colour, whatever, they're doing well. I'm a fan of them. Doesn't matter. I'm a lover of football, not just because I'm an Arsenal fan. I love football. I love seeing good young players coming through doing their thing. So if these guys are doing their thing, I'm there to cheer them on. Because at the end of the day, I'm an England fan as well. So England do well. We're all happy when England do well.
That's right.
So,
and we'll see. We'll see how it plans out for these guys. Obviously, it's a long season ahead. We'll see if they can get some good results and good performances and keep it going. And we'll see if they'll force their way into the next England squad. We'll call it a night there. I think we're just going to see what happens with Man United. We're going to see what happens with Ten Hag. Obviously, the title race is heating up. Liverpool are top of the table.
6 games into the season, Liverpool top of the league. It's a very, very interesting time. Arsenal look quite good. Man City look quite good. Obviously, Man City being without Rodri is a big swing in the title race, but it's very hard after 6 games to say who has been the strongest team or who is the strongest team going into the the next 6, for example. But I think Liverpool have looked good. I think Arsenal have looked solid. And I think Man City have been Man City, obviously minus Rodri now. We can only hope that they will suffer miserably, and maybe even suffer even more miserably when it comes down to the 115 charges at case. So yes, we can only hope that them 115 charges will be put into action and Man City will be relegated to the conference. So yeah, I think we all are in agreement on that one, for guys.
Very good win for them at the weekend.
I think it was kind of back to business for Liverpool at the weekend. They had played the worst team in the league, and managed to get across the line with a 2-1 win. In all honesty, they made the game much harder for themselves than they could. They couldn't really get everything together, and cause the same attacking threats that they'd done in the first few game weeks. But there was there's moments where you thought, oh, we're going to creep back into this Nottingham Forest situation here, and Liverpool throw it away. And when they gave Wolves the goal, which I say Liverpool gave Wolves the goal because Wolves did not look like scoring ever at any real stage in that game until Liverpool basically put them in a position where they gave them a goal, and they had to have 5, 6, 7, 8 messes up to be able to give them the goal. So yeah, I think really when you look at that situation and you consider it, Liverpool have done very well to get across the line and get out with the win. Again, I think it was a soft penalty that Liverpool got, but they'll take it, and scored a minute later and took the lead back. I think if Liverpool hadn't have scored when they did, it could have been a more tricky state of affairs for them to try to get that winning goal if Wolves had been able to sit in. But because it happened so quickly on the counter-attack and Liverpool back in the lead, Wolves didn't even really have any time to regroup or to take that into consideration. So yeah, very, very good. Liverpool top of the league, 5 games. 6 games in, 5 wins, 5 wins, 1 draw. 1 loss. And yeah, you have to say it's been a very good start to the season, albeit not so difficult fixtures. So yeah.
So what Liverpool are doing right now is actually very interesting, because it's very much what they were doing for the most part of last season, apart from when results just didn't really go their way after they announced that Jurgen Klopp would be leaving the club. And they're just quietly getting on about that business. That 2-0, that 1-0 loss, against Nottingham Forest a few weeks ago clearly hasn't knocked their confidence, because they've come back fighting with another, well, first of all, they had that really good result against AC Milan coming from a goal down. And they'll come again. All right, Wolves did give them a bit of a game. They equalised everything. Obviously, it was a mistake. But then they've come back. They have come back fighting and just quietly going on with what they're doing. It's almost as if, somewhere along the line, we're so focused on Man City and Arsenal and what they're doing with the high-profile players they have. Granted that Man City did indeed drop points this week. It's almost as if Liverpool, we're not necessarily thinking of them just because of what's happened with the squad. The fact that Klopp has gone, the fact that the morale towards the end kind of dropped off a little bit, but they've still got a lot of their main players, Jota, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, got Gakpo's getting a mention, Gravenberch is doing well, getting a mention. Okay, so they haven't necessarily added any massive. They haven't added massively in the transfer window. But that's because Arne Slot's still trying to figure out what he wants. Is working already with a very good team that has won pretty much every trophy in the last 4 years: Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup. This is the club that knows how to win. With a team that knows how to win. The only thing he's going to necessarily worry about is the fact that the players I mentioned as of before, they're aging, they're getting older, and it's a good thing that not many of them left on when Klopp went. They stayed and they stayed loyal to the club. But he's got to worry about the fact that these players are getting older. But as long as they keep putting in performances, to stay fit, they don't get injured, there's definitely a case for them being in a talk for being at the top at the end of the season.
When it comes down to the contract situation at Liverpool, I think there's really only one contract that matters, if we're being totally honest. Now, don't get me wrong, Van Dijk and Salah are great players. They've been brilliant for Liverpool, but they are probably both past their best. And if Liverpool aren't able to renew both of them contracts, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like, look, in an ideal world, Liverpool will renew all three contracts, but the reality is the most important contract Liverpool need to have renewed by the end of this season is Trent Alexander-Arnold. There is no doubt he's the best fullback in the world. He's one of the best players in the world, and Liverpool cannot afford to lose a local lad on a free transfer. It would be nearly as big a catastrophe as Liverpool losing Suarez, probably bigger than Liverpool losing Torres, than Liverpool losing Alonso. It would be one of the biggest catastrophes Liverpool could have to lose Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's incredibly, incredibly important that doesn't happen and that Liverpool secure the contract of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Will it happen? I think it's touch and go at this moment, and I, as a Liverpool fan, really don't like to say that.
That's us signing out.
Peace out.